yeah, I need to make more of you. Something like this. Hi, my name is Jess and I am the artist and creator behind G-Res Alchemic Art, and today I am hoping to sculpt a large clay scene as part of kind of a New Year's goal that I've created for myself. If you don't know me from before, I have been sculpting a lot of, smaller clay pieces, kind of individual sculptures, characters, things like that, sometimes fun desserts. But I have always had a love for creating some like larger clay scenes as well, and something that maybe can kind of tell a story beyond just, one singular little piece. So I have done several other larger clay pieces, including like little mausoleums. I have done like some graveyard scenes, just fun different aspects, and I really want to continue that into the new year and continue to try and challenge myself as I hopefully grow as an artist. So today I actually have an idea of one clay scene that I would like to work on for the month of January. My goal is to hopefully continue to make at least one big clay scene every month, so hopefully you look forward to this series as the year continues. But for today, we are going to focus on a wizard's home. So yes, I have my handy dandy sketchbook here, and inside I have actually planned out technically January and February's design idea. I might change around February's though, just because I may want to do something more like Halloween, something similar to that aspect. But for today, we are actually focusing on a clay wizard's tower. So I have actually gotten all the details here kind of planned out in my head at least. I have a little bit of a sketch going. It's never very pretty when it's in my sketchbook, but it does help me to get the idea actually out on paper. So the idea is going to be that I am going to sculpt one large wizard's tower. It's not going to be huge, for one, because I do have to fit it in my clay oven and make sure that I can still, actually go in there and bake properly. So we're going to do that. We do need to work on an actual base itself as well. And then I am going to work on like some little clay trees, maybe some stones. I really want to include some of my clay sculpture ghosts as well. They kind of look like they're made out of like a granite almost, and have those be on the sides of each of the tower. And then of course our own clay wizard ghost that's going to be hanging out right in front. So I thankfully have all that kind of planned out in my head. The more interesting aspect of it is going to be actually trying to sculpt everything in and of itself. For the most part, I believe that we're just going to be using some like aluminum foil and what have you to hopefully get our base pretty even. I feel like that really helps to, not get it so crunchy and like kind of lopsided. Sometimes that's also kind of a nice effect, especially if we're dealing with grass, which we technically will be for this scene. And then a little bit of aluminum clay is aluminum foil to be holding up the rest of our tower as well. So we're gonna get right started with that in just a minute here. Alright, so we do finally have our finished sculpture. We have our ghost wizard and his tower, we have his little clay statues on the side, as well as some different trees and little stones as well. And I added in a couple of little flowers too, just to give it some extra color as well. So overall, I think that it turned out really well. I'm gonna go give it some time to bake in the clay oven. For this guy, I think it's gonna take a little bit longer, so probably imagine like maybe 30 to 40 minutes. We'll see how it goes. And then we'll kind of glaze it for them. So let's get started. So now that our clay friend is officially baking in the oven, again, I think that in the next 30 minutes, that should probably be a pretty good time to give it, enough time to bake. Hopefully there won't be any cracking, because not that I usually have problems with this, but I do know, like, depending on the heat and the amount of time, sometimes cracking can develop in polymer clay if it goes for an extended period of time. So it's just something that you need to be aware of. But I'm gonna also just kind of keep an eye on it. Obviously there's not much you can do in the middle of that other than just to pull it out, but if I start to see any substantial cracks, might be an idea like, ooh, I should probably get this out early. Alright, so we have our all baked clay creation here now. I was gonna say it, I honestly think that it turned out really well, and despite it being such a large clay piece, and I baked it for about 30-ish minutes, honestly, like, there aren't any cracks or anything, and I think it turned out really solid. So we're gonna go ahead and glaze it all really quick, and then we will officially be completed with our first clay project of January of 2026. Alright, and with that, she is finished. Honestly, there probably weren't that many new techniques that I used when I was actually making this, but I am really happy with how it all turned out. Honestly, we have our little wizard ghost, we have the actual tower itself, we have a couple of little trees, some of our stone sculptures in the background, some also little stones as well, and then obviously our base is like pretty dang nifty, if I do have to say so. I feel like the base is always what takes the longest, and honestly the tower kind of took a while as well, just because again, I don't normally use a whole lot of molds when I'm actually sculpting things by hand, but I kind of wanted this more textured, kind of looking like a stone tower feel, so I think that it actually came out really well. I also did use one for the door, obviously, and again, it was a lot larger than what the actual tower was going to look like, so I wanted to kind of shrink it down. And honestly, I think it still turned out pretty well, to be fair. But regardless, I am very happy with how this turned out. I know that clearly this is not the extent of my sculpting capabilities. I hope to continue to work on my practice as I continue to grow throughout the year. But for now, this is our first large sculpture of January. I have an idea for February's one as well, although it may get switched out for March so I can focus on a different theme for February, being more of like a Halloween theme. But if you guys have any interest in maybe some suggestions that you would like to see in the rest of the year, or if you maybe have some ideas for like what you would like to see for other clay projects in the future, please feel free to leave them in the comments below. But hopefully you guys have enjoyed this one. I have certainly enjoyed creating something new, especially, you know, just trying to create like kind of a fun scene that hopefully tells a little bit of a story of our ghost wizard. But regardless, I hope you guys enjoyed this one. Please make sure, if you haven't already, to leave a like, comment, and subscribe if you are not, so you can keep track of more fun clay projects like this, as well as other things that are going to be happening in the future. And hopefully you guys, I will see you all in the next one. Have a wonderful day.